Hello, good evening. Once again, my name is Rajiv Chopra from the Dusty Mike Chronicle. I am holed up in my room and I intend to go to the gym in a short while. I don't go out to walk because the air is polluted and toxic. That's the reality of the National Capital Region, Delhi. But I'm not here to talk about pollution today, even though pollution does impact your photography. Let me talk about an interesting word Dutch use, Niksen. The Dutch call it Niksen, Niksn. This is the act of sitting and doing nothing. Cows chew cud. Cows chew cud. Animals chill out all the time. Walk around the streets in India and you will see cats and dogs lounging about, doing nothing, lazing around and contemplating. Do they contemplate infinity? I don't know. I don't think they know either. I assume that they sit there contemplating, enjoying the sun, and they stir themselves only when their bodily needs advise them to move, whether it's hunger, the need to pee, or do something else. Study cats and dogs and observe the absolute happiness in their bodies when they stretch and yawn. It's cool. It is very, very cool. When I was a teenager, I read a quotation attributed to Samuel Butler. The quote goes something like this: all the animals on planet Earth, except man, know that the primary purpose of life is to enjoy. Humans invented busyness, and it has become an epidemic. And it's become such an epidemic that the Irish singer Donovan sang a song in the 1960s urging the world to slow down. I don't know if Donovan followed the advice that he gave us. What I do know is that after a brief period of popularity, the song sank into oblivion and we all ignored and continue to ignore the vital lesson in the song. Genuine monks around the world, and not just Buddhist monks, but genuine monks around the world, know the value of living a slow and measured life. The digital world has made us shutter happy. I'm now speaking about photography. We walk around and go click, 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 click. This habit has become such an epidemic that we don't walk around looking at the scene, getting a sense of the action, the drama, smells, sounds. We don't soak in the atmosphere. We just take out our cameras and start picking. This pandemic has spread throughout the world and has afflicted us to the extent that a few photographers founded a movement called the slow photography movement. I am a member of the slow photography movement. I started shooting black and white film, or with black and white film, in Bombay, on the streets of Bombay. Penury drove my choice of film type. I was a poor, underpaid engineer and could not afford color film. Film was then, and even now, remains expensive. So poverty placed a massive constraint on me and ensuring that I looked around and photographed very, very carefully. I learned then, and even now, not to waste film. Film costs money, and time also is money. Today, we have the habit of shooting too many pictures and then spend too much time at the computer culling the images. These days, I am always on the move, and this affects my writing. I'd like to write, rewrite, edit, rewrite before I put a blog post out into cyberspace. But I don't seem to have the time, and this habit of rushing makes me unhappy. I saw a post on Instagram, one of the few good posts on Instagram, stating that the Japanese have a no culture, as in NO. No dirt, no pollution, no littering, no bad behavior. You get the idea. Don't assume that the Japanese were angels. They were not angels. They were far from angels. They were cruel and sadistic to the Chinese in the 1930s. If any of you have read The Rape of Nanking, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, and I will post a link to the book at the end of this post. Yet, there is value in the no culture concept, as it depends on what you are saying no to. Several years back, another pandemic swept the world, and this was, of course, COVID-19. We were confined to our homes, and every day after completing the house chores, I often said no to TV, no to the computer, and no to social media. Instead, I often sat in the balcony, contemplating the sky, watching the rain, listening to the birds, feeling the breeze, and emptying my mind. Often I sat with my eyes closed, ignoring everything and all distractions around me. And then the pandemic ended. Too soon, I think. The drill of machines, or the drilling sound of machines, began. And I've not been able to sit outside ever since then. It's not just the sound, but also the construction dust that fills the air. And it's just poisonous, and it's a tragedy. People are happy, people are busy, and most of us cannot sit still doing nothing. We are scared of doing nothing. Several years back, I read a statement by the late yoga master BKS Iyengar, and he could contort his body in any shape he wanted. But he did say something which I didn't understand at first. He said that the Shavasana, or the corpse pose, or the corpse asana, is the most difficult of all asanas. At that time, I thought that the man was crazy, he had gone senile. Contortions, after all, are far more difficult. And they are much more difficult than just lying on the floor. One day, a bolt of lightning hit me, and I understood how difficult it is to empty your mind and stay still, which is why the Shavasana is the most difficult pose of all. It demands that you lie still, quieten your body, and still and empty your mind. And these days, on the other hand, a genuinely senile man, Narayana Murthy, the founder of Infosys, or one of the founders of Infosys, wants people to work 72 hours a week. He insists, or the lunatic insists, that this is the only way that India will be able to overtake China. He rules out, the errors due to fatigue. He rules out the fact that you need to think, to innovate, and you need time to think. But there are senile people, or I would say there are people who want a legion of slaves, and they don't say that, but they will tell you, work, 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 but work for us. Constant busyness tires you out. Enslavement tires you out and converts people to malingerers and crooks. Say no to our busy culture if you can, and allow yourself the luxury of periods when you do nothing. I don't suggest that you spend your life doing nothing, but allow yourself these periods when you do nothing at all. Doing nothing for 15 minutes or half an hour or an hour a day is not a luxury. It is, I believe, an absolute requirement, a necessity, a medical necessity to recharge your body, recharge your spirit, recharge your mind. And it may well be what we require for the survival of the human race. So that's it for now, and see you in the next time. Do comment on the post, shove in a like, share the post, subscribe, have fun. See you next time. Bye for now.